What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and so I'm making this video. I got a few things that I want to talk to you about today. There's some, big stuff in the news. So let's get right into it. I'm gonna go through. There's a few articles on Bleacher Report. Bleacher Report. Their articles are always really small, so I'm gonna read them to you, or at least portions of it, and discuss the stuff that's going on. So. First and foremost, it looks like the Dolphins have made some roster moves, or a roster move, whatever. The Miami Dolphins signed wide receiver TJ Raming, the team announced on Tuesday. The move comes as the team waived injured wide receiver Saeed Blacknall, continuing to give the team depth at the position as they prepare for their preseason Week 3 contest against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Raming was signed by the Washington Redskins as an undrafted free agent this spring. He appeared in one preseason game, recording one reception for 6 yards, but was waived by the team on August 11th. He played collegiately at Duke. Blacknall signed this summer, blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, so, first and foremost, there you go. There's the news on that. Now, as far as my perspective, so apparently Saeed Blacknall was, it says here waived / injured. So I don't know if he, had gotten some sort of injury or whatever. And, they figured, he's, not going to be available for a minute, and he's not worth keeping around in the meantime while he gets healthy. So they got rid of him. So spot opens up. Okay, great. So then they signed somebody else. Okay. And here's where it breaks down for me, right? So first of all, why? Okay, sure, you got rid of a wide receiver, so you replace him with another wide receiver. But why? We have tons of fucking receivers on this team. We have tons of them. Even outside of the, starting lineup, which part of the news today is some of the guys are coming back. We're getting some of the guys who have been out with some minor injuries back, but we'll get to that in a minute. So, but again, we have just in the starting line, or just, we have, okay, Devontae Parker, Kenny Stills, Albert Wilson, Jakeem Grant, Preston Williams, Isaiah Ford, Trenton Irwin, Allen Hurns, now this dude. We don't need receivers, especially at this point in the offseason, or in the preseason. We only have one game, or we have 2 games left, the dress rehearsal and then, the audition for all the lower guys. But we need offensive linemen far more. Stop ignoring the fucking offensive line. Just continuing to neglect it. And look, Brian Flores, look, I'm sorry, but I'm losing so much respect for Brian Flores. And there's more about that, as we continue on here today in the news. But, his football decisions and his, personal decisions, are really starting to make me lose a ton of respect for this dude. But anyway, so, but, so he was saying, well, he was like, I like the 5 guys on the offensive line starting right now. And, I talked about that, I think, yesterday in my last video, saying, about how, well, it's super vague. So, he could be saying, he could be leaving a lot out. Well, but there's nobody else, I like the 5 guys that are there, but there's really nobody else, that's risen to the top above them. So it's the best 5 that we got. And, hey, the tape shows that they struggle pretty mightily and they don't do well, but, whatever. I like those 5 guys, right? He left a lot of that other stuff out. Now, maybe he just genuinely likes those 5 guys. But if he does, they're certainly not, they haven't performed yet. right? Up to par. I mean, last week the offense was just putrid, absolutely putrid. And I mean, look, we'll see. On Thursday we got a couple more days, 2 days, right? So we'll see what happens on Thursday. The starting offense should play a significant amount of time, whatever the starting lineup is. We don't even really know for a lot of the team, but we are getting, we should be getting some of the starters back, like for the hopefully we'll have some of them back, like Albert Wilson, in other words, some of the receivers that have been out with nagging injuries or finishing up the process of healing through their injuries. But anyway, so we'll see, but my bet is that the offensive line is going to it's Jacksonville, dude, and they got a good defense, especially in the starting lineup. Look, man, we'll see. Maybe they'll surprise me. They did surprise me a little bit in the first game, but then it was a pretty substantial and stark drop off in the second game. Like I said, it was absolutely putrid. So we'll see how that goes. But it's like that whole thing. He's like, I feel like he's just trying to sell to everybody. Oh, don't worry about it, and like distract people from it. Like, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So it's good. I like the 5 guys that are there. Okay, but what happens when they, severely underperform? That causes a lot of problems for the quarterback, who will then underperform, whether it's Ryan Fitzpatrick or Josh Rosen, and then the offense will suffer. They won't do anything. Then the defense will start to suffer after getting worn down and being on the field so long, and then this entire team will suffer, and then we're gonna suck because they keep refusing to do what's actually necessary for this team. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And everybody fucking hates on me for this, but Adam Gase started doing the right things. He started piecing together. Yeah, he brought in a couple old dudes, but they proved in the time that they were there that they were worth, bringing in. But then you get injuries. But what was he? He did the best that he could, right? Because we already had Laramie Tunsil, our first round pick, a few years ago, 3 years ago now, whatever it is. This is his 4th year, I think. We already had Juwan James, right? And then they brought in a couple savvy, proven veterans who have track records. Not only had started, lots and lots of games between them, but actually won games in the playoffs. One of them had a Super Bowl ring, right? The guys that we brought in this year, we got a 3rd round pick who, last game, to be fair, had a good, Pro Football Focus rating, Michael Dieter. But again, some of that, could be taken with a grain of salt for sure, because he definitely got, bailed out on a false start that he did. But then, the rest of the guys, Chris Reed, he's not even in the starting lineup anymore. Isaiah Prince, hasn't been doing anything. He's just, nobody really even talks about him. Zach Stirrup has been a bit injured, but, also got taken out of the lineup because he wasn't performing at right tackle. It's just, it's a fucking mess, and they're completely ignoring it. But then they want to sit there and sell the fan base, oh, don't worry about it. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Right? If Adam Gase had another, couple years, right? If you had, for example, if Adam Gase didn't get fired and we still had the entire team in place that we had before, he could have easily then added more to the offensive line, younger guys, right, through the draft, and then it would have been shored up and we would have been fine, right? And we could have actually gone into this year with hope and expectation instead of this shit. So I think the move is fucking stupid, and there's no fucking point or reason behind it. There's not. Because it's not even training camp anymore. The preseason is half over. Why do you need to bring in a 50th wide receiver? Dude, we need fucking offensive line help. He is blatantly ignoring it, and than trying to sell to the fucking people that, you know, everything's gonna be fucking okay and blah blah blah, and it's not going to be okay. But you know, whatever. Anyway, so let's move on a little bit. I do want to talk to you guys about some of the guys that are coming back. Let's see. Perhaps the worst has passed the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins were severely undermanned during their Week 2 preseason contest against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Half the starting defense was on the shelf with injury, so too was at least 3 key contributors on offense and the team's primary return man on special teams. The injury bug hasn't claimed anyone with anything significant to this point in the preseason for the Dolphins, thank goodness for that, but bumps and bruises have stretched this team thin, revealing the alarming lack of depth in some areas on the roster. But yesterday brought a bit of good news for Miami. Reinforcements are here. Real quick, before I get into that, or no, you know what? I'll just finish it because these are all short. The Dolphins welcomed 2-time Pro Bowl safety Rashad Jones back to the practice field yesterday, along with wide receiver Jakeem Grant and running back Kalen Ballage, which is all really good news, of course. Ballage was held out Friday's preseason contest for nothing more than precautionary measures, but his return is welcomed nonetheless. From here, the Dolphins will get a chance to reshuffle the secondary rotation and return Minka to the slot. He's been serving as the team's strong safety in the absence of Jones and fellow safety TJ McDonald. Grant's return is equally important as rookie wide receiver Preston Williams can once again focus on mastering his routes on offense and have return duty taken off his plate. Here's to a few starters finding their way back from the injury list before the Ravens come to town next month. Okay, so the first thing about that is obviously it's good that we're getting these guys back. There's still a ton of guys that are banged up and bruised, and you know, I'm pretty sure, you know, their injuries are not like 100%. You know, NFL players, like, I mean, you know, obviously I don't know this for sure, but from my perspective, it seems like NFL players are almost never, unless it's until maybe like the off season where they actually get like legit a couple months of like just rest and shit, right? But they're always going, right? They're always going, and they're always going hard, very physically, right? So like, I feel like all their injuries are always like, you know, just shy of 100%, you know, like 98% or whatever. But the problem with that is that those injuries can then be re-aggravated. And there's always that chance and possibility. And we're going to have injuries in the season. It's not like we're going to go through the season without having any injuries. So having this many, and especially to so many key players this early, is super troubling. Especially when some of them do actually have a little bit of an injury history, right? Like Rashad Jones has had an injury history and, you know, a couple shoulder surgeries. Right? So that can be problematic, especially for a strong safety who's, you know, used to and does his best work down in the box and being, you know, an aggressive tackler. Then you have, you know, Jakeem Grant and Albert Wilson, who, you know, and I mean, I feel like all these guys, you know, will come back and be all right and perform, but they do have a little bit of something, and so they got to monitor those things, right? Whereas if they didn't have those injuries, then, you know, they wouldn't have to think about it at all because it didn't happen. And then, again, they could always re-injure themselves, and people will get injured throughout the season. So, yeah, I mean, it's good that we're getting guys back, man, but I don't know. I mean, I think people are just fucking anyway. So that's that. I'm trying not to, like, my mind just goes like a million miles an hour all the time and starts like connecting all kinds of things, and I get sidetracked and blah blah blah. So I'm trying not to do that. I want to kind of stick to this. So I'll let you know who's back and everything, which is good. And okay, so then the next thing I wanted to talk about, there was a report, Dolphins head coach trolls Stills by playing Jay-Z. Okay, this really actually infuriates me. Miami Dolphins head coach Brian Flores is either a massive Jay-Z fan or attempted to send a message to wide receiver Kenny Stills during Tuesday's practice, which I think is absolutely the case. We'll get to that in a minute, what I think the message is. According to Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald, Flores picked 8 straight Jay-Z songs to start Tuesday's session. The choices were notable because Stills, who knew in advance this would happen, recently criticized the rap mogul for entering into a partnership with the NFL while Colin Kaepernick remains unsigned. Jackson suggested Flores could have been playing mind games with Stills in an effort to help the receiver block out distractions that could affect his play. Cameron Wolfe of ESPN noted Jay-Z said, "We moved past kneeling and I think it's time to go into actionable items," during a joint press conference with NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell when discussing the new partnership. Okay, pause for a quick second. So, or no, you know what? I'll finish it and then I'll go back through it and say what I gotta say. Stills was critical of the comments, pointing out Jay-Z has never been on a knee and didn't seem very informed on the issues facing those who haven't been given a voice. Kaepernick offered his support for Stills, Eric Reed, and Albert Wilson in a tweet that appeared to take a jab at Jay-Z by saying they have never moved past the people. Real quick, so there was a tweet by Cameron Kenny Stills on Jay-Z NFL partnership talking about we're moving past kneeling like he ever protested, choosing to speak for the people like he had spoken to the people. I wonder if he's read my Facebook or IG comments or what people say to me. It didn't seem very informed. And Colin Kaepernick had tweeted, "My brothers Eric Reed, K. Stills, and Albert Wilson continue to fight for the people even in the face of death threats. They have never moved past the people and continue to put their beliefs into action. Stay strong, brothers." Stills, Reed, and Wilson have continued to kneel during the national anthem as a way of protesting oppression, injustice, and police brutality, much like Kaepernick did when he was a player on the San Francisco 49ers. Okay, let's go through this. So first of all, I'm just going to go paragraph by paragraph because I got a lot to say about this. Head coach Brian Flores is either a massive Jay-Z fan or attempted to send a message to Kenny Stills. Okay, so I think there's a message, but especially considering everything that has already transpired and with the way he decided to back Stephen Ross as opposed to Kenny Stills with his comments about, oh, you just need to be a company man. Fuck that bullshit, right? That's fucking, to me, that and this is saying you need to fall in line, boy. You need to get with the fucking program, boy. You need to stop making waves, boy. You need to fucking bow your head. Fuck that shit. That's fucking bullshit. He's a black man in America, and I mean, the way he's defending this shit and backing the fucking racist supporter is just absolutely fucking ridiculous. And look, I've just lost so much respect for him. He's just proving now to me that, you know, his football decisions are, in my perspective, overwhelmingly, you know, inadequate, but I was trying to give him, you know, the benefit of the doubt and stuff, right? And look, the only thing that's going to cause me to say he shouldn't have 5 years, right? All the football stuff, you can make mistakes for 5 years and I'll give it to you. But all this other shit now where he's being like a sellout to fucking African Americans and, you know, sitting there backing the white billionaire who supports a blatant fucking racist, nah, that's fucking bullshit and it's crossing some fucking lines. According to Barry Jackson and Miami Herald, Flores picked 8 straight songs on Tuesday's session. The choices were noted because Stills in new events criticized the rap mogul, blah, blah, blah. Jackson suggested Flores could have been playing mind games with Stills in an effort to help the receiver block out distractions. Really, bro? Really? Like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, sure, you know, they might say some fucking bullshit like that to fucking, you know, hide the real reasons, but are you kidding me? Get the fuck out of here. First of all, Kenny Stills has been doing this for a while, all right? And what I mean by that is he's been doing the activism and the playing football for a while. This is like his 7th year or some shit like that, 8th year, something like that, right? And he's been doing the two simultaneously. He has one of the best work ethics on the team. He's one of the most highly respected players we have. You know, he's won the fucking community service award from the Dolphins the past couple years. The work he does, just year round is just amazing. Like, come on, bro. You don't need to fucking, that's just some fucking bullshit excuse to hide the reality of the situation. And the reality of the situation is that Brian Flores is being a fucking sellout. He's being a goddamn fucking sellout, and he's not backing the fucking, his brother, you know, his you know, minority brother. They're both black, right? I understand Kenny Stills might be a little bit more light-skinned than he is, but whatever. They're fucking both black. He needs to back him instead of the white fucking billionaire, the white male billionaire. Get the fuck out of here with that fucking bullshit, right? He doesn't need that shit. He's a grown-ass fucking man, and he's a fucking professional, and he's been doing it all these fucking years at a high level, both on and off the field. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Cameron Wolf of ESPN noted Jay-Z said, "We're moving past kneeling, and I think it's time to get into actionable items." Okay, again, or really what Kenny Stills said was absolutely right. The dude never fucking knelt. Never fucking knelt. Okay? Never fucking once knelt. He's not an NFL player. Look, and I mean, to be fair, they haven't, you know, this partnership just started and so on and so forth. So we, you know, Kenny Stills also said this, right? Like, we need to give them time to see what's happening. You know, I would like to think that Jay-Z is a, you know, gonna be like a true advocate and fighter for, you know, black rights and against the injustices and stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, he is worth a lot of money. You know, I did look it up, and him and Beyonce have a net worth of $1.35 billion, and I'm sure that they did get helped out. You know, they did get a massive tax break when Trump passed his $2 trillion tax break for the rich and the wealthy and for corporations, right? And also, it does appear as if the start of this whole thing, this little, you know, partnership is starting off a bit rocky, to say the least. Plus, I mean, you know, Roger Goodell to me is a little bit like fucking, you know, these shithead Republican like politicians and stuff. Like, if I was a you know, Democratic politician, I wouldn't want to work with Republicans because they fucking stonewall the shit out of Democrats, and they fucking just pass whatever the fuck they want when they're in power. So fuck them. Get the fuck out of here with bipartisan bullshit. They're all fucking racist, bigots, misogynist, and fucking terrible people, and they just want to destroy the world and destroy the country. So fuck that. I don't want to work with them. In case y'all ain't noticed, I'm a little fucking heated by all this shit. Stills was critical of the comments, pointing out Jay-Z has never been on a knee and didn't seem very informed. Also, we've moved past kneeling, and I think it's time to go into actionable items. Okay, again, he never nailed, but the people who are protesting and have been protesting haven't moved. Eric Reed, Kenny Stills, and Albert Wilson are all still kneeling. So how are you going to say that they've moved past it? And actionable items? What the fuck are you talking about? That is an actionable item. Again, we need to give them time to see if they can, you know, maybe Jay-Z can fucking sway, you know, the power structure in the NFL to stop being such douchebags. We have to wait and see. But so far, they've been nothing but douchebags who've only cared about their bottom line. Haven't given a fuck about player safety, about equality, about none of that bullshit. It's all, or quality of the game, it's all about the bottom line to them. The only thing they give a fuck about is money, and it's fucking putrid, and it's disgusting. But yeah, what do you mean? They are. That's the whole point of the fucking kneeling, is to protest social injustice, to protest the way that, you know, African Americans and other minorities are discriminated against, to protest the police brutality primarily against unarmed black men all the time. The fucking jackass cop in the Eric Garner case that choked the dude to death for absolutely no reason finally gets fired 5 years later. Oh, congratulations. Are there going to be any criminal convictions? Does he go to fucking prison for murdering somebody? No, probably not. And he'll probably just go get a job in some other fucking racist, infested, you know, precinct somewhere else in the fucking country, right? So it's fucking garbage. It's absolutely fucking garbage. Like, it's a fucking spit in the face of all of this shit that's been going on. God damn it, man. This shit pisses me off. Okay, to another related topic to that, but moving on to the next thing. So there's another report here that I want to talk about, and this is pretty big. This is huge, and this says a lot. Miami Dolphins owner Stephen Ross has been removed from the league's Committee on Social Justice. Wow, this is interesting. In an interview with Sports Illustrated, Chris Long, that is, he used to play for the Patriots. I think he played for the Eagles and stuff like that, whatever. But he's a white male, but he's actually doing a lot of the right things. I don't think he kneels and stuff, but he's a guy who's been out and actively talking about, this stuff and trying to do real. I think like he donated his entire year's salary to a cause or whatever. And now he's taking this action, and I think it's the right one. The one thing I really disagree with Eric Reed on is that the coalition hasn't done anything, right? What Chris Long said. He defends the Players Coalition and announces the removal of Miami Dolphins owner Steve Ross from the working group committee. Now, look, I mean, he's right. They have been fighting and they have been pushing for, change, but unfortunately, they're not, as it is right now, strong enough, right? The power structures still, squash them and everything that they're trying to do. Dolphins wide receiver Kenny Stills criticized Ross when it was revealed Ross was hosting a fundraiser for President Trump. Ross issued a statement in response via CBS. I always have been an active participant in the democratic process. While some prefer to sit outside the process and criticize, I prefer to engage directly and support the things I deeply care about. All right, that line actually really pissed me off too. Because again, while some prefer to sit outside of the process and criticize, first and fucking foremost, Kenny Stills votes. I know he does, right? Because he was active in, voter registration and all that stuff. In the South Florida area. I know he votes, right? So it's not like he's not taking, part or participating in the actual process. Not only that, but god damn it, the dude is a massive activist and is always doing something to raise awareness and to make, social change and so on and so forth. So fuck you, dude. God, I'm just fucking tired of this shit. Like, really? It's just fucking spitting in their fucking faces. And then I prefer to engage directly and support the things I deeply care about. Okay, and again, that's why he can't say, oh, well, I'm not a racist, but, his racism isn't a big deal. And, because clearly if you support him, you support his policies. And of course, he cares about the $2 trillion tax cut, which he was a beneficiary of, which made him even more rich. But he doesn't care about all the rest of the shit legitimately, which is being made abundantly clear at this point, right? But you can't support, but okay, you want to defend him. Oh, well, he's just looking after his money, blah blah blah. Yeah, but the dude that he supports, affects the lives of millions of people for the worse, right? Not for the better, for the worse. And frankly, at this point, it's not even just minorities in this country, right? The fucking economy is going to blow up any fucking day now. Right? Anytime now, whatever. The entire fucking country is just like melting apart. It's just disastrous. I've known Donald Trump for 40 years, and while we agree on some issues, we strongly disagree on many others, and I have never been bashful about expressing my opinions. Okay, well, if you apparently strongly disagree with, like, his, racist rhetoric and so on and so forth, then why do you support him? Why do you give him money? Why did you hold a fucking fundraiser for him that, only billionaires can attend? Because you don't really give a shit. Because what you're saying is you care more about money than you give a shit about other fucking people. It's fucking absurd, right? And god damn it, all these motherfuckers are out there just sitting there trying to fucking, like, you can't fucking hide it anymore, right? Like, they sit there and try and say all this fucking roundabout shit, right, to make it seem like, oh no, I'm not a racist and I fucking fight for equality and blah blah blah, but you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and support this racist, bigot, misogynist motherfucker who actually has the power and ability to affect the lives of millions. God damn it. I started my business with nothing, and a reason for my engagement with our leaders is my deep concern for creating jobs and growing our country's economy. If you really gave a shit about that, then you wouldn't support the fucker. He's destroying the economy. I have been and will continue to be an outspoken champion of racial equality, inclusion, diversity, public education, environmental sustainability, and I have and will continue to support leaders on both sides of the aisle to address these challenges. Okay? Again, to be fair, he has done a lot of wonderful things, but, most notably with the recent shit, and I've said in the past that there have been, every once in a while there was something that was a little questionable, that Stephen Ross had said or done, but, I'd always given him the benefit of the doubt, and most notably because, it seemed like overwhelmingly he had been doing the right things, but, bro, I mean, come on, especially with all this shit now, you've lost your fucking credibility, and, continue to support leaders on both sides of the aisle. First of all, I didn't hear you, holding a fundraiser for Bernie Sanders or for Elizabeth Warren, right? Or, frankly, any of the other fucking potential candidates for president on the Democratic side. So what the fuck do you mean both sides of the aisle? All I know, and all the public knows, is that you held a fucking fundraiser for Donald Trump, the Republican fuckhead. Also, once again, I don't give two fucks about working with those assholes because they have proven to fucking be nothing more than fucking asshole motherfuckers that are racist, so on, so forth. And I mean, god damn it, look at the fucking, the facts in front of you. They stonewalled the shit out of fucking Democrats. I mean, look, Obama's term, right? He started off, now he ended up being an establishment Democrat, and I apologize for so much politics, but you really can't fucking avoid it at this point. But anyway, so he started off with a supermajority presidency, House and Congress, and Senate, right? But what did he do? He fucking sat on his hands and he let the fucking Republicans fucking dictate the conversation and the way everything that got fucking run. And he talked about bipartisanship. Fuck that bullshit. Fuck that bullshit. The Democrats are often a major part of the issue. The establishment Democrats, which he turned out to be one of. So, look, I don't want these fucking... No. Fuck that bullshit. It's time to fucking squash the Republican Party. It's time to destroy these motherfuckers. Because all they give a shit is about themselves, power, and money. And they will destroy anyone and everyone to get there. Which is evident, super evident. Even all of the Republican voters, even all of their base, who they sit there and fucking talk about and pander to all the fucking time, but in their policies, they do things that very much hurt those people as well, economically and so on and so forth. It's just fucking, it fucking pisses me off. Ross was one of 5 NFL owners on the social justice initiative that was established in January of 2018. Excuse me. The group also includes current and former players like New York Jets offensive tackle Kelvin Beachum, Washington Redskins cornerback Josh Norman, Hall of Famer Aeneas Williams, and 3-time Pro Bowler Anquan Boldin. The mission statement of the group is to focus on 3 key pillars of social justice, including education and economic advancement, police and community relations, and criminal justice reform. So, I think it's a big deal and pretty fucking telling that, they don't want Ross there anymore because, I mean, look, he's like I said, the good things he may have done have been negated and very much overshadowed. And I'm not like, I mean, I'll still be fair and I'll still give him credit for those things, but, and I'm not generally the kind of person that's like, okay, you can do 1,000 good things and have it all wiped out by one bad thing. But if the one bad thing is severe and bad enough, then it is certainly possible And I think this qualifies. And so Stephen Ross has lost all my fucking respect. I don't want him as our owner anymore. I think he needs to step down. He needs to sell the team and get the fuck out of there. Go back to being a fucking real estate mogul and support your fucking racist, bigoted friend Donald Trump. And then y'all can fucking run off into fucking La La Land together holding fucking hands and be all fucking happy while y'all are fucking billionaires sitting in a fucking fascist regime while the rest of us are just fucking squashed, murdered, and fucking oppressed. So fuck that bullshit. I'm so fucking pissed about it, man. It just fucking drives me nuts. Anyway, and then goddamn it, fucking Brian Flores ain't any fucking better at this point either. This motherfucker is just selling out. He's being a fucking complete sellout, and that shit fucking pisses me off too. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and fucking end it on that note, cause man, that's enough. That's enough for now. It's enough for today. And that's all of the, you know, the relevant news and information going on. Oh, you know what? Motherfucking fuck it. Just real quick before I end, one more thing. Pro Football Focus and put this out. The highest graded Dolphin defender by season during the Pro Football Focus era from 2006 to present. So in 2006 it was Taylor, 07 or Jason Taylor, then 07 cornerback Will Allen, 2008 Channing Crowder, 2009 Randy Starks, 2010 Cameron Wake, 2011 Cameron Wake, 2012 Rashad Jones, 2013 Brent Grimes, 2014 Cameron Wake, 15 Ndamukong Suh, 16 Cameron Wake, 17 Ndamukong Suh, 18 Cameron Wake. But hey, look, we let Cameron Wake go. God damn it, dude. I'm tired of this shit. Anyway, I'm definitely gonna end it now. Look, I hope you guys enjoy my perspective and enjoy my videos. It's obviously a lot different than, you know, most people. So like I said, I hope you guys do enjoy that. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And of course, as always, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.